Good evening. I'd like to call the October 14th, 2025 Bermuda Run Town Council meeting to order. As a reminder, please silence your phones. Thank you. Do want to recognize we have a quorum. Thank you, Council. We have all 5 council members here tonight. If you're able, please stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
It is the intent of the Town Council to make solemn the proceedings of this meeting and the business brought before the governing board, to offer the opportunity for a reflective moment of silence. Please join me in a moment of silence. Thank you. Town of Bermuda Run Code of Ethics Statement. Mr. Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, Council. Pursuant to North Carolina General Statutes 168-86 and 160D 109, and the Town of Bermuda Run Code of Ethics Policy adopted November 9, 2010, and further endorsed on August 9, 2022, I would ask each of you before you adopt the agenda if there's any actual, potential, or perceived conflicts of interest with respect to any matter on the proposed agenda which will come before the Town Council for a vote at this meeting tonight. If so, please speak up and let the Council know at this time before the agenda is adopted. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. Moving on to agenda item number 5, adoption of the agenda. Council's had an opportunity to review the agenda. Are there any revisions, or do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second. Motion, Ms. Ernst, second by Ms. Nelson. Show of hands, all in favor? I vote. Thank you, Council. Item number 6, approval of the September 9, 2025 Town Council meeting minutes. Council's had an opportunity to review the minutes. Are there any revisions, or do I have a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Guthrie, second by Mr. Tedder. Those in favor, show of hands. I vote. Thank you, Council. Tonight we have a presentation from Mr. Wesley Sharp, President and CEO of Davie Community Foundation. For many years, James Simpson has served as President and CEO of the Davie Community Foundation. In fact, we've had Ms. Simpson attend Town Council meetings to speak to us. Ms. Simpson is retiring in December, and in her place, Mr. Wesley Sharp is now at the helm as the President and CEO of Davie Community Foundation. I've asked Mr. Sharp to introduce himself, come speak to us about his work, his vision for this wonderful foundation that we have here in Davie County. I want to remind our audience that the council is welcome to ask questions, but as a protocol, we do not take questions from the audience. Again, welcome. Thank you.
Thank you very much for having me. It's an honor to be here. Again, my name is Wesley Sharp. I have the lovely opportunity to follow Jane Simpson in the dynasty that she has built. I want to thank you for the opportunity for you allowing me to come talk about the foundation, what's been going on, where we're going, and how people in the community can get involved. When you talk about a community foundation, most people think a building, a program, a fund, but that's not what it is at all. It's engaging people, investing our community in the future. It's simply connecting people with an opportunity to create a legacy. You can make a difference for good. You can make a difference forever. This is done by establishing a fund. And I know one of our individuals on the council has a fund there, and we're very grateful for what that does to the community and how it benefits Davie County. The biggest thing it does, the Community Foundation connects people who care about Davie County to local causes that matters most to them. It creates legacies of giving. It invests in nonprofit organizations with strategic grants and allows them to grow and to meet the needs in our communities. It also lets the community have an opportunity to create a future for itself. And it's not just a given plan, but it always allows us to address those needs that are happening right now. And our community foundation, through grants that we do twice a year, can help address those. So it's not something that we have to go, oh, we have to wait 6, 8, 10 months or 2 years for an assessment. No, if there's a need, we try to take care of it. Again, like I mentioned, we bring people together in inspiring philanthropy. I always say, looking at this drawing, at the very base is what the foundation does. We create endowments. We have that funds there, so it's 100% there forever. Without strong roots, the tree won't grow. And we provide grants, scholarships. I mentioned Pearls of Empowerment, our youth surf board with youth grants, and how we're affecting leadership in our community. Our community foundation is a 501c3 public charity. We administer 300 different funds. Unlike a private foundation, which only has one fund, we're managing 300 different funds that are affecting our community and providing guidance. Right around 90% of our funds are endowed. So again, that means they're going to be here forever, impacting Davie County. But really, what does that mean in our community? Well, that we've invested our current assets are $34.6 million. We have given out right at a little over $1 million in grants to Davie County this year alone. So that really impacts those 115 nonprofits that are serving our community. Our Pearls of Empowerment is 15 years old. These are women that are engaged in philanthropy. They do $1 a day, and that dollar adds up. This year, they will, in November, when they do their next set of grants, they will exceed the $500,000 mark in grants, which is an amazing feat. And they focus on women and children. So those are essential in our community. I mentioned our surfboard, 20 years old, 24 teenagers from across the county come together. They do needs assessments. They identify what those things in this community are affecting our youth. Then they turn around and do a popsicle 5K in February, raise the money themselves. They find sponsors, they do all the graphics, they do everything for this event, which is an amazing thing to watch. Then they turn around and offer the community and say, young people, teens, youth, come to us with projects that are going to impact and affect our community. And then they provide grants for those young people, which is really interesting to watch. With community leadership, we have a brand new Cognition Children's Museum and Makerspace. Upstairs, there's all types of things that replicate our community, from nursing, healthcare, to agriculture, to building, but it allows youth and children to come in and have that work experience, but during play. So they don't even realize what they're doing. Well, I'm really interested in that. Ignite Davie, I hope you all know what Ignite Davie is. Davie County should be extremely proud of this. I've been working across 2 states over my last 20 plus years and seen other communities try this and fail. Davie County came together collectively, not just the foundation, but multiple organizations, multiple individuals in the community, and said education should be a priority in our community, and that every youth that graduates high school should have the opportunity to further their education. Money should not be the incident. We had one young lady that actually dropped out of school during her, I guess it was her junior year, and she worked at a local restaurant and then kept hearing about this Ignite Davie thing, thought that the workforce was the best place. She comes in, met a few people that were involved in Ignite Davie and said, but I dropped out of school. Can I still do this? Can I go get my GED? Because, I'm barely making it as a waitress, and the answer was yes. Young lady got her GED, went to Davidson Davie, now has a certification in diesel engineering, and is now has a career, not a job. Those are the things, those type of opportunities that this community has said, we want to make sure every kid has a future. And the last thing is Elevate Davie, is where we're working with nonprofits to build their capacity, to make them stronger, make them have greater impact. And most of all, be able to look at the community and say, we are doing the best we have with the resources we have, but collectively we're much stronger than each individual nonprofit doing it together, separately, sorry. Some other major accomplishments, 12 millions awarded in grants for our organization. And I mentioned the Ignite Davie, $3 million in that fund. And the good thing is we had gotten a grant for that. So actually, it won't be till July of 2026 till we actually take the first dollar out of that endowment. So it has continued to build and build. And we've had 111 teens receive a scholarship through Ignite Davie last year. It went from 83 to 111, and we're going to continue to see it grow. Much of my time. I mentioned Ignite Davie. Enrichment is an area that we've done things with walking trails, Rise right up the corner. We've done gardens in the community, dealing with poverty. Storehouse for Jesus awarded them a $30,000 challenge grant. We really like challenge grants because that means everybody's got skin in the game. And that also makes sure that the community is engaged in it. It's not just a couple people's idea, but it's a really need that we're able to address. Next thing is Davie Community Foundation enables all people, income levels, to participate in organized philanthropy. You don't have to be the richest person on the street. You don't have to be, if I'm working part-time, I can still be a part of a fund. It may not be named after me, but I can be engaged in it. If I'm wanting to be engaged in a fund that maybe is focusing on education, I can donate to that. I can be part of somebody, if it's dealing with healthcare, I can be part of that. Or if it's I want to give to one of our nonprofits that has a fund, I can donate through that way. But again, no gift is too small to make an impact in our community. Davie Community Foundation awards grants. Like I mentioned, we've done grants like in Coolamy to provide learning coaches. When we saw their education and their reading levels were low, that was an area that they applied and we provided grants. We've done stuff with local other nonprofits doing feeding programs, making sure, especially during COVID, there were a lot of grants that went out with feeding. And then we've done, like I mentioned, we've done grants right here in the Rise. We've done in the gardens. I think we've done a couple pickleball courts. So it doesn't have to be one specific area. Our foundation really covers, as we say, basically birth through death. We work with Smart Start programs that are with young kids birth through pre-K. We work with schools all the way through. We have a program, we just did a grant, one of the first grants I thought it was really cool that I got to be part of was with the Senior Center here in Davie County. And it was a grant to provide robotic dogs for people with dementia. And it was the coolest thing. And they sent us a video of how that really changed that person's life and how it and there's a lot of therapeutic research that goes along that, but it was just something that was really neat that we were providing that to somebody that had that need. And on the flip side that I say through death is we have 3 estates right now that have been given to the foundation. And one of them, once it completely closes out, is going to be probably the largest scholarship we have, over $1 million in one single endowment for a scholarship. So it's somebody that did not have children. Actually, their child had passed away earlier in life. So they said, we wanted to open up a fund in their name to begin with a scholarship. And they said, we really want this to be impactful. They left the entire estate to the foundation. So every little gift matters. We try to make it simple and quick. We make it hassle-free. Anybody that's interested in being a part of this, all they have to do is reach out to our foundation and have a conversation. How it works, really, the individual figures out what they're interested in. We have a conversation. They identify if they have assets or what kind of assets they want to be. That could be cash. That could be a stock. That could be securities. I mentioned real estate, personal property. Even life insurance. We could be a secondary beneficiary. If you have kids and they go on off, and heaven forbid if something happened to them, we could be a secondary beneficiary. Or we could be, another beneficiary at a certain percentage. So it's not taking the money right out of your wealth right now, but it's a legacy gift that you're able to do. And we mentioned bequests and estate gifts. Again, donor makes the decision. Donor decides how to give, the name, how to give the fund. We have 5 different types of fund: community impact grants and field of interest. Those are grants that our board decides on how those are given out. Nonprofits apply for those. It's a competitive situation. Donor advised, of course, the donor advised says I want my money to go to, and then we make sure that money gets there. Again, as I mentioned, our churches and nonprofit funds, we have 37 of those. I would like to have 115 so that every one of our nonprofits have an endowment, so they are secured in how they're going to be sustaining their organization long-term. And I mentioned our 101 scholarships we have. How can you leave a legacy? Coming to the end, I promise, this is something that's very interesting in our community. $15.3 billion in wealth is estimated in Davie County. That's a whole lot of money. Over the next 10 years, 580 million will pass from one generation to the next. What could we do with 5% in our community? What would it look like? That would end up being 29 million. So that would double the amount of grants we would be able to provide, double the amount of scholarships we would be able to provide, double amount of services that our nonprofits could do to serve our community in those education, health, and any of those other areas. Five to Thrive is something you're going to see across our community. We're asking people just to think about it, consider it. Think about what are those opportunities that I might be able to want to be a part of this, or I want to leave my legacy. I want to make sure that when I am gone, that the things that were important to me still happen in our community. We're in the process of doing several, you can go to our DavieCommunityFoundation.org. And you can find information about, we're doing 3 sessions on just some ways to be savvy during tax season. It's nothing there to push you in any shape or form, but hey, what are ways to make sure that you're maximizing your tax opportunities? But you can go on our website and find out about information about that. Again, we're just encouraging the community, you know, what if we left 5%, have an ideal opportunity to create a legacy for yourself, your family, for Davie County. Those permanent endowments, again, will continue to grow forever. So again, 5tothrive.info is where short and easy how to get there. And I just, again, thank you for the opportunity to be here. Thank you for this community and what it does through all of its scholarships and its giving. Continues to make a huge impact in Davie County.
Thank you. Any questions from Mr. Sharp?
First of all, thank you for being here, Mr. Sharp.
ma'am.
And just I wanted to dial in a little bit on that $15.3 billion figure. I'd heard it in another presentation you made to the Davie Women's Auxiliary, and thank you for that, too. And it really made me pause a little bit. Is that number, is that average for a community, a rural community like ours? Is that on the high end or the low end? Or could you just give us a little bit perspective on that kind of wealth and legacy potential in our county?
When they did this, it was either out of Michigan or Michigan State, some college and university did this study nationwide, and they did it state by state. And then our foundation, in collaboration with some other organizations, said, we really want to know our own community data. I cannot give you real specifics on our state because we were one of the few that chose to dig a lot deeper. So we have that money. But from some of the conversations I've had is for a rural community, that's a good amount of wealth. That's a very good amount of wealth. And on the flip side of that, talking with Jane and some of the other community foundations surrounding us and across the state, and when I talk about this number, they're like, that's amazing, but also it's amazing what your community has done in such a short period with your foundation. Some of those foundations have been around for a long time, and they're not even close to our numbers. So I can't give you specifics, but again, in some of my general conversations with other foundations, that is a good amount of wealth, and we should be proud of that, and that capacity is there to give.
Well, thank you for everything you're doing, and congratulations on your position.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate
It's
it.
an honor to be here. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Nope, thank you.
Congratulations.
I do have a quick question.
Yes, sir.
So as you talk about the financial side of this
Yep.
and these various buckets of giving, can you talk a little bit about how does that money get invested? Does the person who's directing that particular grant get to say, well, I want to invest in XYZ stocks or put it into my savings, put it into a savings account? How does the financial side of that growth occur?
Two sides to that. The one side is we work with Woodard & Company right across the street. They are the financial advisor that we use. Our strategy is 70-30, and that really allows us not to play the ups and the downs in the market. Instead of some foundations, it's kind of, they evaluate it every quarter, and it's, oh, we're up here, we do 60 here, and then we 40 there. And we've just found that that gives us a really strong return on that. Donor advised funds are a little different. Some of them, donor advised, are held at another, it may be at Edward Jones or some other, but we're holding their funds. or they're designated to us, then they say, hey, we want that to go to the animal shelter. Well, it comes to us and it goes directly out to the animal shelter. So, but majority, the 90% is held at the Woodard.
And the 70/30 is 70 stock, 30 bond, is that?
Yes.
Okay, to make sure I understood the math. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Any questions?
Any other question?
Again, thank you very much
Thank
for
you very
coming
much.
tonight and
Thank
all
you.
that you do for our county and beyond.
Appreciate it. And if there's anything we can do, please feel free to reach out to us because we're here to help.
Great.
Thank
Thank
y'all.
you.
Thank you.
Agenda item 8, citizens' comments. Do we have citizens' comments? No. Okay. Agenda item 9, public hearing. Do we have anyone signed up for the public hearing? No. Okay. Clemens Bermuda Run Annexation Agreement. Mr. Meadwell.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As council recalls, this was presented to you last month, and as part of that presentation, the requirement to enter into this agreement with the Village of Clemens for this annexation agreement was to each municipality hold a public hearing, which I would ask you to do that tonight. But as my understanding, Clemens has already adopted their side of the agreement. Included in your agenda package is a copy of the actual boundary map, and basically the real gist of this is we're not going to cross the river, they are not going to cross the river. This is just a continuation of that 2002 annexation agreement that we previously had with the village, and also in your agenda package is an actual copy of that agreement. So, Mr. Mayor, I'll turn it back over to you for to open up the public hearing on this matter, on the annexation agreement between the Village of Clemens and the Town of Bermuda.
I will now open the public hearing. I will now close the public hearing. That's efficiency at its best right there. Any questions for Mr. Meadwell?
Just want to clarify, Mr. Meadwell, so this is a 20-year, is that,
That is correct.
okay.
That's correct. And,
So it
and,
was 20 years ago, and then this will be 20
and by
years.
statute, I think that is the maximum length that an agreement can run. So in 20 years, we'll come revisit this once again.
Okay, great.
You and I won't be involved in the next one.
You're not? Okay, okay. Well, I wouldn't bet on that, but.
And so, Andrew, you and I talked about it before the meeting, but there's nothing that prevents Clemens from crossing into Davie County versus Davie County crossing over, or Bermuda Run
correct.
crossing into Forsyth County, right?
Municipal annexations do not follow county
Lines, right.
So outside of having an agreement with an adjoining municipality or multiple municipalities is really the only real tool that prevents that type of action from occurring.
And there are some fairly detailed statutes around how that process
correct.
works, and part of codifying this is to allow that to sort of make sure that neither happens.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And just so, I'm reading the language here, but just to be clear, if one side or the other can elect to terminate, but they've got to give a 5-year notice, is that
That
right?
is correct. That is correct.
Okay.
Any other questions for Mr. Meadwell?
I'm good.
If none, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Ernst, second, Mr. Tedder. Show of hands, those in favor? 5-0. Thank you, council. Pass the word on to Clemens that we're now safe. Item number 10, proclamation, First Responders Month. Pardon me. October is the First Responders Month, so I'd like to now read a proclamation on behalf of the town of Bermuda Run. Whereas first responders, including law enforcement officers, firefighters, emergency medical technicians, paramedics, dispatchers, and other public safety personnel are vital to the safety and well-being of our community, and whereas these brave individuals risk their lives daily to protect and serve the residents of the town of Bermuda Run, pardon me, often placing themselves in harm's way to ensure the safety of others, and whereas the first responders demonstrate unwavering commitment, professionalism, and compassion in the face of emergencies, disasters, and crises, And whereas their service is essential to maintaining public safety, responding to natural and man-made disasters, and providing critical care during the times of need. And whereas the town of Bermuda Run recognizes and honors the dedication, and sacrifices made by first responders and their families. Now I, therefore, Mike Brandon, Mayor of the town of Bermuda Run, do hereby proclaim the month of October 2025 as First Responders Month in the town of Bermuda Run, and encourage all citizens to recognize and express their gratitude to the first responders who serve our community with courage and distinction. Thank you for allowing me to read that. And while I'm at it, I'll go ahead and recognize we have both our Smith Grove and our Advent fire chiefs here, so timely for you to be here, and thank you for all that you do. Moving on to action item number 11, capital project ordinance for the Bermuda Run Infrastructure and Safety Improvement Grant. Mr. Meadwell.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As we discussed at our last agenda meeting, when we gave the update on the HUD Community Project Fund grant, council was made aware that we had cleared those hurdles with the environmental review and the release of funds to be able to start that project, which, if you recall, this is the Twinsway Fusion RISE project. These funds were awarded to the town in July of 2022. We just got this approval, this release of funds in August of 2025. A journey, to say the least. But as part of this release of funds, we have to create this capital project ordinance just to show that how these revenues will come into the town and how those expenditures will go out to pay for this project. These, and I think Councilman Guthrie had mentioned, what was the money being used for. There was a budget that was turned into HUD as part of the project, and we kind of consolidated that into kind of the big buckets, but we've included that as part of in the agenda there. But this is a reimbursement type grant, so invoices will come in. We'll have to ask HUD for those funds. That amount of funds comes back in, and then it goes out. So just for our transparency, and if you do recall, the Piedmont Triad Regional Council is actually administering this grant for us. That was the decision we made back in 22 to do this, as they were the agency that was probably the most appropriate in the fact that they have dealt with dealing with HUD and these community type grants in the past to do that. So I'll turn it over to you, Mr. Mayor, for consideration of creating this capital project ordinance.
Yeah, just a reminder that this grant of $3.65 million flows through the town, so that's why the town is orchestrating it. But ultimately, it benefits Truist Sports Park, NC Fusion, RISE, as well as the town in terms of the various projects and activities around that. So this was very much all those organizations coming together back when Rick Cross was mayor and working through that set of a laundry list of requests that then was distilled down into that $3.65 million. So this is really the next step in that process, is to actually execute the work. And as Andrew pointed out, PTRC is very adept at this. They do a lot of these kinds of things. I serve on the executive council, and almost every meeting that we have, there's some form of grants that's being processed and approved as part of what they do. So them orchestrating this from a project management is absolutely in their sweet spot in terms of their expertise. Any questions from the council with Mr. Meadwell?
I do have just a couple. I know we've submitted specific projects and gotten the funding finally approved and for disbursement on these. if we get into these and there's a decision or there appears to be a real valid reason to amend one of these projects or to shift the focus to something obviously comparable but not exactly these, do you know if there's a means by which that can be done, Andrew?
HUD has established a process to do that. As with any kind of project, these are just the budget numbers
Yes,
for
right.
that. These were kind of the best guesses. These projects have not, the work hasn't been put out to bid.
Right.
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 So costs could come back higher. So it could create a situation to where projects may be eliminated or elements may be eliminated
Or modified.
or modified to some degree, but there is a process to do that. But I think the idea of we wouldn't be able to go ask for additional funds, right? Because the way this was approved through the federal government, there's no way to modify that total amount like that.
Second question, I'm going to be amazed if you have a good answer for this, frankly. There's no casting no aspersions at you, but these are federal funds coming that'll be reimbursing us for monies that we have spent. Is that correct?
That's correct. That's correct.
You understand where I'm going? Is there some way?
So there is a process and we're working with HUD on that where we're not caught kind of in the lurch on that. So
Yeah.
there's, basically we'll have a limited number of days when that money comes into, it hits our accounts to disperse those amounts out. So that's where we will have to be working very diligently with PTRC and those contractors to set up these accounts to where, we need these invoices in so we can disperse these things out. And it's all with the timing of that where we ask for these reimbursements from HUD depending on what day of the week that we do these. So obviously, earlier in the week, we're able to get it out by the end of the week. So, but that is one of the main questions or concerns that we had, and we're working on resolving that. But that seems to be the process, is that we'll have that 3-day window to disperse those funds once we do receive those from HUD.
I wish you well on that.
Well,
It'll be an adventure.
well, I guess the big issue, and I think we brought this up a couple of years ago when we did this, is cost change dramatically. Things like petroleum products, all it's in the asphalt that we're paving over there. So although these funds are here and they're tied to particular projects, that may or may not have to change, because the likelihood of you being able to do all that asphalt work we talk about in this, when you read, for that amount of money, is probably not going to happen. It's going to be something less than that. So those get modified, right, Andrew, along the way?
They may, and I will say that both Truist Sports Park and Rise are working with their engineers diligently. They know what the budget is, they know what the scope is, so they are developing those plans accordingly. What the market may bear in terms of what a contractor bids on that, we just don't know. But I think that's why there's flexibility in being able to ask for a modification of what the budget is with HUD.
But it can't go up.
No, sir. No, sir. We are allocated the amount of money that was given.
Can we amend, do we have the capability, let's say if their parking lot C is 1,000 yards of asphalt and it over budget, do we have the capability to amend it to 900 yards and make the parking lot smaller to stay within the budget? Or is that required, or does that require?
Right. That will be a conversation.
Conversation,
that we all have to. And I think that's, the core focus of what the grant money was for, right? To increase that safety aspect and enhancements there. So it's just those choices of going down that list of what can be accomplished and what can't.
So,
And there's always, here again, right now, Rise and Fusion are putting up their money for the engineering aspect of it, right? So that every dollar can go of the grant to construction for the project. So there could be a situation that there may be additional funds that they put up, but it was very clear that the town would not put up any funds for this project.
And it is a guaranteed reimbursement for this amount.
We are allocated that money. That was,
Assuming the government's open, right? Assuming the government's open.
Well, I will share that probably 4 months ago, there was a lot of discussion at the PTRC when the government was starting to reevaluate a lot of their grants. And there were a significant number of grants that the PTRC itself has and relies on that they had to keep a close watch on, because some of those grants, and I'll give you an example, the town worked fairly hard to try to see if we could get a couple of charging stations.
Right.
And we were working through the PTRC to try to have that because there was a grant for that. 2 months ago, I asked the PTRC of the status of that, and they answered that particular grant had been removed. So there are grants out there that were in fact removed so that those dollars were no longer there. So the whole idea of making sure the money's there and the town's not on the hook if the money's not there has
Yeah.
been kind of the primary driver. And I think that's kind of in between the lines there, Rod, of what you were describing.
Exactly.
And when do they expect to start? We get to that?
January,
January?
sometime in January.
If I could, Mr. Mayor, first of all, I want to commend y'all for sticking with this. I mean, this is a ball that got kicked off in, almost 4 years ago by the time it's going to happen. So I want to commend you and then the staff and the council president and previous for all the hard work you've done on this. This is a nice opportunity. I mean, it's a big deal for a town our size. So whatever we can do as a council to support you and give you and Charlie and you guys all the help, and hopefully not have to call on Mr. Williams, would be a fine, will be a fine thing.
That's right. Thank you, sir.
So one thing you can do to help would be to have a motion.
Motion to approve. How about that?
Second.
Who's first?
Mr.
Who
Schaefer?
made the motion?
Mr. Tedder made the motion, second by Schaefer. Council, those in favor, show of hands. We are approved, 5-0. Thank you, council. Mr. Guthrie, you met your expectation there, so you were able to accomplish that. So well done on your part. Item 11B, Planning Board reappointment. Mr. Meadwell.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Tony Krashenko is eligible to serve a second term to the Bermuda Run Planning Board. As you know, this would be a 3-year term. And at the conclusion of the second term, and if he so chooses and council so chooses, he would be eligible for that third term. So Mr. Krashenko has agreed to serve that second term, so staff is recommending that Mr. Krashenko be appointed back as a regular member to the Bermuda Run Planning Board.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Meadwell?
I move that we reappoint Mr. Krishenko for another full term.
I'll second.
Second. Motion by Guthrie, second by Schaefer. Those in favor, show of hands. 5-0. Thank you, council. Pardon me. Moving on to item 12, town manager comments.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just have a few updates for council. The Bermuda Run wastewater AIA project is coming close to an end. We are planning to have an update for council at your agenda meeting in October, with the hopes of having the final presentation to you at your November meeting, in which you'll see the final plan that was created by that AIA, and it's really that capital improvement plan where we need to be in the next 5 years for the wastewater system. This is very similar to what occurred with the water system. There was an assessment. There were certain improvements that needed to be undertaken. Town initiated those. But I think ultimately the goal is, as a result of this AIA, is this journey that we've started back 2018 when a previous council agreed to be part of Eastern Davie, to not upgrade its existing wastewater treatment facility, to go away from that for a pump station, to decommission that, to the point where we were transferring the pump station to the county. This is a journey that we've kind of traveled with our partner at the county. So this is one of the next final steps before we meet that ultimate goal, which is still to transfer this over the complete utility system, water and sewer, to the county. And the sewer is the last part of that. So hopefully update at your agenda meeting, final presentation in your November 18th.
Just for our audience, AIA Asset Inventory Assessment, which is those in Bermuda Run East, specifically the oldest part of East, where we had smoke testing going on and things like that. That's the oldest part of the sewer system, and that's what this evaluation was targeting, was that oldest portion. A fair amount of the rest of the town already connects through the other Davie County sewer system. This is really the original country club, original town sewer system from 158 down to Bing Crosby and 801. That sort of northern area of Bermuda Run East is this what we're talking about, the scope of this. So, what else you got?
Just an update on the Bermuda Run East pedestrian path project. We're almost gotten the final Phase 1 temporary construction easement from the club. I spoke with Mr. Meeks yesterday. He said that corporate has it and that we should be getting something back from them in the next 5 business days. So looking forward to that. That's the last piece before we can actually submit for our erosion control type permits, and then we can put that out to bid. Phase 2 of the project is moving along as well. Utilities are starting to be looked at, to be relocated. Time Warner probably, or Spectrum, will be one of the very first to remove. They will probably be doing some work at night, just to limit interruption to any type of internet service throughout the day. We know a lot of people do home offices and, work from home. We don't want to interrupt that. So hope to be very less intrusive to those residents. And it's only a couple different locations where that night work will occur by Spectrum. But we're really thinking by the end of October, you'll start to see some of that utility work starting to be moved right there. The Blue Heron Trail phases 3A and 3B, if you recall, those are the pathways that extend from the current Blue Heron Trail heading west toward the 158 and 801 intersection, as well as the sidewalk project connecting the Davie Medical Center to that same intersection. We've completed our scoping meeting with our engineers. They are starting to get that design work started now, and it'll follow kind of that similar type process that we did with our pathway project, getting utilities involved, any type of movement there. Now, this may be probably just a little bit easier just because of a lot of the utilities there won't be as many impacts with utilities as we had with NE. So we're really hoping that this will move forward pretty quickly. Want to give you a status on our paving project. As you know, those bids came in higher than what we expected. We've already started working with the prospective contractor and looking at ways that we can start cutting some costs with that. It's been pretty positive in the amounts that we've been able to achieve. We're just not really there yet. The one thing that we want to avoid is eliminating a street to be paved just to meet what our budget amount is. That will be the last kind of offer that we have to do just to come within that. I think that the way our budget is for this, we allocated quite a bit of money in this year's budget to do that, but it's just all construction costs. But I will say that I am consulting with our partners at DOT to see what type of municipal mutual aid that they have in this, to see if their contracting services would be a benefit to the town. So I talked with DOT, those officials today. There's just a few things they're trying to work out. They have our engineering data or plans for that, so hopefully I'll get a cost on that. I don't know that there's going to be a lot of savings on that end as well, but all options are on the table for this before we have to make a decision, really, eliminating street or, doing some type of budget amendment to cover this. So, but my goal is try to get that amount down to what we budgeted in this year's fiscal year budget. So, one of the most important things that I look forward to each year, leaf pickup. I will tell you that myself and the contractor have just been monitoring weather conditions and the foliage, driving around, just seeing what's really happening. There's a lot of green still on the trees. So our fear is that we're going to experience a significant cold snap. And I think probably like in I think my first year, 22, the leaves came down quick.
Yeah.
And just not being prepared. So we're still anticipating that the collection season will start that first week in November and extend through that second week in January. Weather conditions will dictate that. The contractor is aware that we may need to pull the trigger faster, but just kind of watching the leaves there. But we'll be sending out a communication to residents, letting them know, right? I think probably one of the biggest things that, one of the changes will be is larger equipment. One of the issues we kind of ran into last year was the space needed to get the equipment in. People putting these beside close to fire hydrants or, light poles or parked cars. We just need those additional clearances, and we've already started those. I've already started those conversations with the HOAs that help dictate that. But I think one of the things too, talking with the fire marshal's office, hey, we need to keep our fire hydrants clear, right? Mm-hmm. So I think that's really going to be a big push this year on our part, is to just monitor that they're able to get there to get to those find those fire hydrants as they're traveling down the streets and things like that. So. And the last thing, Mr. Mayor, our Food and Brews Festival is this weekend, this Saturday. Weather is expected to be pleasant, which, is really going to make for a good event for all those that attend. So looking forward to that. So that's all I have, Mr. Mayor, and I'll entertain any questions the council may have of me.
Real quick, one quick follow-up. Can you give us a real quick update on the gate operations?
So we are still working through that contract. I've had several conversations with the vendor. They know what our intent is to have something back by the agenda meeting. So, and they are confident that they can do that. A lot of things, items that council brought up, I have conveyed to them. So nothing back from them, but it did not appear that was an issue for them.
So that's a week from today, right?
2 weeks from today.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Oh.
So the 28th.
Yeah, I'm a week ahead of myself.
He's quick.
So very encouraging to do that.
Quick question, back to your favorite subject, which is leaf pickup, right?
Yes, sir.
Is there a longer-term strategy on what we're going to do with those leaves? For me, I walk on a golf course every night, and I'm telling you, there is 20 truckloads of leaves down by the sewer
So
district.
a lot of those.
If they dump them again this year, it's going to be overwhelming,
Yeah,
I would think.
so, talking with the contractor, a lot of those have broken down.
Right.
A lot of those will be taken, given away, whatever, for what
Mold
purpose.
something.
And I think that this is the problem, just not for us, but for any municipality.
Right.
There aren't many places anymore that take leaves.
Right.
Wallace Farms, for instance, they're charging $100 a truckload now.
Means you take them?
To take them.
Take the time.
They take them for compost.
Take them?
Yeah, but when you add the time to load it up, drive out there, drive back, plus that tipping fee, it starts to make it cost prohibitive. The idea of finding that person that has a goalie, for better words, to fill up where they can accept are few and far between anymore. So I think this is a problem that a lot of, just not us, but a lot of jurisdictions will be.
Yeah, I even asked Scott at the same time about getting soil down there, not the compost, mixing the soil, put it out on the golf course, you know, is something, get some environmental.
Right. So you look at what the Village of Clemens does, they have a composting, they give mulch away, they give it away for free.
Okay.
Right.
And really, it's two issues. One is where to put it, and the other is that we faced last year, the further away that you dump those leaves, the longer the cycle time before that truck gets back and can pick up the next round of leaves. And so part of it was where it was dumped, it was more of an efficiency, dump it nearby. But again, that's not really a long-term strategy, to your point. So part of this is you need both pieces of that to work together. And again, I don't know that anyone's not facing it. I've heard some of our municipalities larger than ours, slightly east of us, have gone into making recommendations that people leave them on their yards. And so we're not there yet, but it's a challenge, right? I mean, it's a challenge to maintain them throughout that season. It's unpredictable. And like I said, where you put it, the cost and the cycle time and all that, so.
Well, and a lot of landfills just do not take leaves anymore because the space is a commodity.
Right.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Mr. Meadwell?
Nope.
Okay, Mr. Sharp has left, but again, I appreciate him. I appreciate what the Davie Community Foundation does. He didn't get, a lot into the weeds on it, but there is, it is tremendous what Ignite Davie does, and the fact that every high schooler in Davie County has the opportunity to go to a 2-year Davie Davidson Community College free ride for 2 years. They even have now a partnership with Forsyth Tech for some of the classes that aren't offered by Davie Davidson, that are offered by Forsyth Tech. Carol McNaney from the EDC coordinates that. So it's just a tremendous program and a lot of tentacles that Davie Community Foundation does that we just greatly appreciate, and what a wonderful organization. Excuse me. A couple things. So our next town council meeting is not on the traditional second Tuesday. Our next town council meeting is on November 18th. The reason is because the 11th is Veterans Day, and so we are moving the council meeting to the following Tuesday. So please make sure, and we'll get plenty of, Cindy do a great job getting all this stuff communicated out, but just a reminder, November 18th will be our council meeting. There will be no agenda meeting in November. So our once and only meeting in November is November 18th. I am happy to announce that I've worked with the new Davie Women's Auxiliary, and they will be coming to speak to us on the 18th. So we're looking forward to hearing all that they do. I have someone here on the left that's somewhat remotely knowledgeable of what they're involved in because she's part of that. But looking forward to Ms. Sue Whitaker and Ms. Linda Ernst coming to talk to us about that organization and what they do. Excuse me. I'll take a drink of water. Sorry. Lastly, I have some difficult news to announce. There will be no Christmas in Bermuda Run event this year. Despite the town's best interest in organizing and coordinating this year's celebration, challenges related to planning, participation, and resources have made it impossible to move forward as hoped. This is not the outcome any of us wanted. I know this news is incredibly disappointing for the town as well as our community volunteers, our residents, and our event partners. I want to thank the volunteers who organized our prior Christmas events and who spent months planning to make each event a success. Earlier this year, the town dissolved the Community Vision Fund Committee and created a new Christmas in Bermuda Run board. When that change occurred, I failed to ensure the Community Vision Fund Committee was supported through that transition. I apologize to them, our other volunteers, our residents, and our event partners. While this year's cancellation is unfortunate, it is my hope that we can celebrate this special event again next year. That concludes my remarks. Are there any comments from council?
Thank you.
If not, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion. Second?
Mr. Guthrie, second by Mr. Tedder. Those in favor, show of hands, please. 5-0. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for coming tonight.